Hi, I'm Kendra. I left home. It's too hard to look into the eyes of the person you love with your best friend's arms around you. A waking nightmare. And yet, today was supposed to be as black and white as yesterday. Barely got up in the morning. All night long, I tossed and turned. I have got dark circles under my eyes for a long time already. I hopped into the car and waddled to school. In class, I threw my backpack on the desk. "We're going clubbing tonight, remember?" Patty winked at me. I wasn't really in the mood, but it was easier to nod than to argue with this party girl. I could barely sit through 4 classes, and then it was announced that Miss Pondy, the math teacher, was sick, and we were dismissed for the day. Patty and I rushed home. Of course, I would be more comfortable at home with popcorn and soap operas. But Patty had been begging me to come to the opening of the club for so long. And here we are. Noisy, lots of people. We could barely find an empty table in the corner. Patty went to get us a couple of cocktails, and I squeezed into the couch and almost closed my eyes. "Hi," someone whispered right in my ear. A guy was sitting in front of me and smiling. Usually guys approach Patty. She's fun, loud, looks good, and I'm always like her shadow. "I'm with a friend," I mouthed. The guy leaned back on the couch and looked around. He's not going to get off that easy, I thought with horror. But I decided not to say anything. Patty was gone for a while. I started texting her. "I'm Austin, and I don't bite." He is persistent, I thought. Suddenly, a text blinked on my phone. It turned out that Patty had met some guy behind the bar, and they had gone for a ride in his car. I was so mad. It was Patty's style to drag me somewhere and then disappear with yet another suitor. I stood up sharply, trying not to look at the guy. But he jumped in after me. "Wait, don't go. Can I buy you a drink? Please." "I just got into town. I don't know anyone." And for some reason, I nodded back. Half an hour later, we talked like I'd known Austin all my life. After talking at the club until almost midnight, I started squinting at the phone. I had to get home, or my mom would start calling every 5 minutes. It was like Austin was reading my mind. "I'll give you a ride home. Have you ever been on a motorcycle?" He winked at me. We rode down the street at a leisurely pace, turning on the navigator. Austin didn't know the city very well. The streets were half empty, the breeze was warm, and there was a strong back to lean against and forget the whole world. My heart was pounding madly. But not from fear. I held Austin's waist tightly with both hands, and he managed to cheer me up. Everything was so wonderful. Suddenly, the headlights blinded me. I closed my eyes, then I heard an insane screeching, whistling, brakes, and then a horrible bang! Everything dived into darkness. I woke up in the hospital. "A couple of scratches. I was lucky," said the doctor. And when I asked how is the other guy doing, he sighed noisily. Austin was in intensive care. He took a direct hit. I felt like everything was not happening to me. We were sitting in a club, eye to eye. And then, boom, a stroke, and I didn't know if he was going to be all right. Austin spent 3 days in intensive care. I visited him and looked at him through the glass. The doctor reassured me that his young body could handle it, and they took him away. The doctor explained that his parents had taken him home for rehab. It was like being hit on the head with something heavy. I sank to the floor at home and cried for the first time in a week. I had no contact with Austin. I'd known him for 3 hours. And he had covered me with himself in the accident. I wanted to say a simple thank you to him, and they took him away. I went back to school 2 weeks later. Everything was black and white. Exams were coming up. Everyone was nervous. Even Patty had given up her clubbing and stuck to studying. I didn't care about anything. The grinding sound of the crash was in my ears. I remembered Austin's moaning, the ambulance sirens, and the stretcher they'd loaded him on. I relived the horror over and over. And I had no clue where the only person who could understand me was. And today was supposed to be as black and white as yesterday. Math again with a substitute teacher because Miss Pondy was still sick. I lay down on my desk and closed my eyes. Good morning. Voice. Can't be. I'm your new teacher, Mr. Travis. No, I wasn't imagining it. Austin was standing by the teacher's desk, smiling. I wanted to jump up and give him a big hug. He looked up at me. He was as surprised as I was. I could see that he was limping a little. I felt so sorry for him. I looked for Austin every break, but it was like he was hiding from me. After class, everyone went outside. Suddenly, someone tugged on my sleeve. Patty! Hey, where are you going? I want you to meet my future boyfriend. Patty was pulling me persistently into the courtyard. And there in the corner, a little farther away from everyone else, was Austin. Patty ran over, kissed him on the cheek, and giggled merrily. Yes, that's Mr. Travis now, our teacher. But in a month, we'll be done with our studies, and then... She winked at me meaningfully. I couldn't look at Austin. Now, I wanted to be with him somewhere on a desert island and talk. Kendra, are you here? Patty was clearly unhappy with my indifference. I'm in a hurry, I'm sorry. I turned around and almost ran home. This is some kind of bad dream. Yeah, it's never been a problem for Patty to get to know a guy. Even limping Austin is handsome. And Patty likes older guys. But I can't stand it. To hell with school. That night, I left to my grandmother's. She had a huge farm, and she had been inviting me to visit her for a long time. At school, they all know about the accident. And I was going to take my exams later. Patty was offended. She didn't understand why I left. And I check her Instagram page in the evenings. It's summer. She's done with school. And now she and Austin are dating. She recently posted pictures of her and him together at the very club where she and I met. And I remembered it all again. I didn't know if I did the right thing by running away. But as long as I feel safe here, I'm going to spend the summer here. Patty's happy, so is Austin. I guess I need to turn over that page and carry on. Hi friends, I'm Miranda. And just recently, a terrible story happened to me and my boyfriend. I'll tell you more about it now. I'm a senior in high school, and I have a boyfriend, Jack. And until lately, we've been doing just fine. Until this girl from our school, Kirby, got into my relationship with Jack. She showed him an old video of me walking in the park with his best friend, Tony. But the thing is, back then, Jack and I hadn't even met yet. And nothing had ever happened between me and Tony. But Jack didn't want to even listen to my explanations. Today, in the break, I went up to Jack and told him directly that we needed to talk. But as soon as he saw me, he turned away and put on his headphones, like he didn't see me. He just walked off in another direction without even looking back. That's when my best friend, Mia, came to my rescue. We agreed that she would try to talk to Jack herself. Maybe he would listen to her. At school, during the break, she came up to him. and I hid behind the corner so Jack wouldn't notice me. Jack reluctantly stopped. "What do you want? Stop following me!" "Wait, Jack, you have to listen to me. You know, Miranda and I have been friends for years, and I know all her secrets. She shares absolutely everything with me, as I do with her." Jack grinned. "Oh, really? Everything?" "Don't you believe me? I not only know on what day and where you first kissed, but what perfume you were using that night. I also know what cuddly toys Miranda played with as a child, and all their names." "I get it. So what?" "Jack, if she was having an affair with Tony, I would have found out for sure. Miranda wouldn't have been able to hide it. Do you understand? But she never had a thing with him. They're just friends, nothing more." "Yes, I perfectly understand the fact that you're her best friend. And you will say whatever Miranda asks you to say." Mia shook her head negatively. And Jack suddenly looked over to where I was hiding and waved to me. "Miranda, hi. I see you. Don't send me any more of your friends. I don't trust them. Neither I trust you." Jack turned around and walked away. "And how can I convince him that I have nothing to do with Tony at all?" Mia asked thoughtfully. "Isn't there a single person Jack trusts? Maybe his mom could talk to him. I don't even know whose words he might believe." I thoughtfully went over all his acquaintances in my mind, and suddenly a brilliant idea occurred to me. I had an idea. This is the man he would definitely believe, for sure. I leaned over to Mia's ears and began to tell her my idea. She smiled and began to nod. "Miranda, it's really genius." The next day, after class, I saw Kirby. She was standing outside the gym waiting for Jack. I immediately walked up to her and asked, "What are you doing here? Are you waiting for Jack?" "Huh. Why do you care? We're not together anymore." "You set me up. Where did you even get that video?" Kirby fixed her hair and gave a sarcastic grin. "You know, if you have connections, you can find any data you want from any security cameras in public places." "And why didn't you show Jack what happened next? That you and Tony just walked in the park, then said goodbye and went your separate ways? That's not interesting." "So what? There was no other dirt on me?" "Unfortunately, no. But as you can see, Jack fell for my bluff. I win." The door to the sports hall opened, and Jack stood behind it. It became clear that he had heard everything. "What win, Kirby? Miranda and I are doing fine. Aren't we, baby?" I nodded in agreement and hugged Jack. Kirby stomped her foot in fury and walked away from us. Jack lowered his gaze guiltily. "I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I was so mad I couldn't think. But Thomas asked me to stick around after the training and listen to what Kirby had to say. I'm sorry, Miranda, for not believing you." And things worked out between me and Jack. But I doubt it now. He believed the lie about me so easily. So he doesn't trust me. So maybe I shouldn't be with him. What do you think, girls? Would you forgive Jack? Write to me. It's important for me to know what you think.